The Wavelengths present a conversation with everyday people doing extraordinary things, making the world a better place. Meet Gwen Cupples, an intuitive consultant, master hypnotherapist, and a channel. She's a life purpose coach, a spiritual healer, mentor, teacher. She does angelic light language. She's a shamanic practitioner, an energy mover, an Ascension midwife, and she has the 4 clairs: Clairaudience, Clairvoyance, Clairsentience, and Claircognizance. We hope you enjoy our conversation with Gwen. Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Jante.
Hello, I'm Sandy.
And we are the Wavelengths.
Hi. Today we are going to be talking with Gwen Cupples. She is a hypnotherapist and intuitive consultant that has lots of different guides that she works with. And she has a whole host of tools in her toolbox that she has been gathering up for the last 30 years or so, 20, 30 years. And so she has lots of different gifts. And we are going to have a conversation with Gwen today. How are you doing?
I'm doing marvelous. It's a beautiful sunny day here in East Tennessee. And yeah, I've been out making the most of it, working in my garden today.
It's very good. Great start to the day.
Yes, it has been.
And I'm so glad we finally have gotten you scheduled to do this. We've been trying for a while, and the universe keeps having other plans. So this is very good.
Yes,
So let's just jump right in, and you can tell us a little bit about what you do, and we'll start from there.
Okay, so I am a master hypnotherapist. My guides guided me to get my certification as a master hypnotherapist after they were bringing forth guided meditations a great deal for my clients when I would work with them. And so it's so synchronistic the way that they work in my life. Someone showed up at my door and they kept talking master hypnotherapy, hypnotherapist. And then someone shows at my door talking about it as well. So one thing led to another. And it's been a wonderful tool. I am working on a certification at this moment as a NADA acupuncturist to do the NADA ear acupuncture. So I found that to be very useful in bringing people into their body, into the moment, clearing their energy so that they are opened up and aligned to be more receptive to the hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have your whole body connected to your ear. If you can imagine a little fetus wound up there.
Yes.
So you've got your whole body in your ear.
That's true. So. Yes, that's absolutely true. So I also offer intuitive consultations and life coaching through working with the guides. And it can be quite interesting sometimes. The path that we feel like we're on and the guides are sending us off to look at something a little bit differently. So I find that very rewarding. Yeah, I find helping people to awaken to their truth and to be centered in who they are on the path that they're choosing at the moment I say the path they're choosing at the moment because there's so many different paths that we can choose.
Right.
So taking a veer on one path for a while, and then you may come back to another path, but they're all teachers. It's all our teacher.
This is true. And having experienced you, and even having my family experience things that you do, I do know that you bring lots of peace and comfort to others. So if nothing else, that's a huge, huge accomplishment, even for people who don't quite follow this path, and can, in your presence, be open to lots of different possibilities that can happen. So
Yes, I've worked with people that aren't really open to this path. And after experiencing what comes through and how it's delivered, it makes them really think about what the possibilities are.
yes, and they can follow along even without being so aware of things, unconsciously letting things in and being comforted, and being able to shift, whether directly or indirectly, of having that energy around them. So
Yeah, that's one of the things about the guides is they like to bring it to where they can meet that person and not be too out there, but bring it out in a way that helps them to meet them where they are.
exactly. So
So-
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to, I would really be curious to know more about the guide team that you work with, and how they appear to you, communicate with them either through, is it through sound or just through their presence, and how they work with each person individually, maybe some examples of.
Okay, wonderful. Yes. So the guides are made up, or sometimes it's 5 guides, sometimes it's a whole room full of guides. And it depends on who I'm working with. If I'm working with a group, then of course there's a lot of different guides, and they're usually waiting very patiently for their turn to be able to speak. There have been a few times when I have had guides that were like thumping me in the back of the head, a little impatient, thinking that, you're not gonna have time for me. So, but it always works out perfectly the way it's supposed to. So I'm clairaudient. I'm the 4 clairs. I see, I hear, I feel, and I know. I also allow them to play my vocal cords, so that well, the best thing is to give you an illustration of that, if you're open to that.
Yes, I am.
All right. So I'm going to ask the guides for the 3 of you. Your guides have already come in, and they're quite anxious, as you should not at all be surprised that they are quite anxious. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of what we refer to as toning, and I'm going to use this drum to help the rhythm slide. Okay.
Okay.
That was lovely.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
was
Go ahead.
That was just beautiful and peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. They, I have to say, it really isn't me, it's them and the way they play through my voice. Sometimes it's really beautiful. Sometimes it can be quite not so beautiful. And you can really, it's very guttural and rough. But I think it's all in their intention and whatever energy is there to be released and to shift. That is their intention with it.
Would you be comfortable for me sharing the story of when you came to visit my son in the hospital when he broke his neck from a car accident? And you
Sure.
did toning. So for our listeners, my son fell asleep at the wheel and ran into it was a light post, but it looked like like a telephone post or that big around. And he hit it hard enough that the post itself broke in half and crushed his car. Fortunately, after he was told by disembodied voices, because this was like 2 a.m, to get out of the car. So he's crawling out of the car. And I'm guessing they're holding his neck because it was broken at that point, what's called the odontoid, which is the bone that sticks up from the second vertebra. And it was broken all the way through, and that bone never slid. But typically what they do in with what orthopedics surgeons do is they typically go in and fuse that bones, because I mean it's a little bone, so that it won't move, which means you lose the I don't know the range of motion. You lose the range of motion. But you, on your way out of town, came over and did this work with him. And I think it was the same day that he was, it was about little over 24 hours after the accident, but there was a whole lot going on in town. So he did not get into a room until like 11 o'clock at night. So it was the next day, and you came over and did what you just similar, again, specific to him, of course. And then the doctors are going, well, we're not going to go do surgery because that bone's not moving. So we'll probably put him in a halo, which is that contraption they put on his shoulders. They drill into the skull and it's all attached so he can't move his head, right? To keep that bone stable so it'll heal. And then the next day, they're like, we're just going to put him in a collar. And he's fine, even though that bone was severed all the way through. And he did have some other work done, but it wasn't until he got home after that decision was made. So I have no doubt, I'm sure there were other guides working with him, but I have absolutely no doubt that what you did took a lot of the shock out of his system so that it could start the healing process. And he had the least invasive procedure to allow his body to repair itself without other repercussions, without any side effects, really. So
yes,
I think
yes,
quite a testament.
That is how that's how the guides work. They come in, and I cannot tell you how many times in my life I've been given direction to go somewhere and be there and do exactly what you're talking about. And I'm always shocked. I shouldn't be at this point in my life. I shouldn't be, but I'm always shocked at how the vibration and the energy can move in such a perfect way
Mhm.
to enhance the outcome.
Yeah. Well, I know we're very grateful. That was 10 years ago, by the way, 10-ish. And now he's getting married in 2 weeks. So, but anyway, one of the things I'm curious about, because of course I knew you way back when, did you start off with all these spiritual connections from like a young age? Did it happen all of a sudden? I mean, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, interestingly enough, I remember being born,
Oh,
and I remember my guides being surrounding me in that process. And I remember not wanting to come through the birth canal.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I forgot what it was like to be human. And the guides kept saying, it's going to be okay. We're going to be there with you the whole time. And somehow or another, I retained that. I had a lot of different experiences in my youth. One experience that I write about, I think it might even be on my website, that I was 8 years old, and the tree, this beautiful big oak tree in our yard, had shared with me that it was going to come a major, I grew up as a farmer's daughter on a farm, and they referred to the storm as like a gollywhopper. That's what my dad would call them, and said, you know, you need to let him know. So I went and told Dad that there's this storm coming, and Dad's like, no, the storm's not coming. I don't know, you know, where'd you get that information? And I told him the tree in the front yard gave me that information. And he was
I was going to say, I bet that went over well.
yes, it did go over well. Yeah, he was like, okay, you know. Of course, I'm sure my parents thought of me. My mother said that I always had a vivid imagination.
Mm.
So we went about our business, and yes, the storm did come. And he came back and he said, okay, so if you get information like that again, let me know. And I said, okay. You know, but as an 8-year-old, the only way I know how to explain it to him was that the tree was talking to me, which the trees have many times since then, and many times in my lifetime. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's because they have spirits too.
Yes. They do.
Yeah.
So after you were 8,
So after I was 8, my father said to me, don't tell anyone that you talk to trees, because they'll come and take you away.
yeah.
People don't understand this. So I kept it very much to myself, and held it very close. There would be times that I would share things with him, but I wouldn't tell anybody else, because I was afraid that if somebody, you know, that might actually be a reality, that they would come and take me away from my parents. And, you know, for children, that's a
Huge
scary
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
So my father died when I was 19, which shifted me into an entirely different place with it, because there was no one else to talk to about it. And so I kept it very close at hand most all my life, up until my grandson was born, who is now 18. And the guides, as I was holding him, I witnessed his birth, and I've tried to be there for all of my grandchildren's births. And the guide said to me, if you don't do what you came here to do, his world will be entirely different.
Oh, wow.
And so that was when I knew that I had to step out there and be more vocal and speak my truth about working with this team of guides. And then I met Daniel LaMontagne, which is how I met you guys and got connected with you. And I'll never forget him telling me that about the teacher and the group gathering. And my guides were in the car. The first time I ever went to that gathering, I sat out in the parking lot, and I was early because the guides were so excited. And they were so excited. One of them kept saying, "You're about to meet me. You're about to meet me." And I'm like, okay, So that was my first experience in seeing someone else channel. And it was done in such a different way than what I was accustomed to. But it was the beginning of knowing exactly that I had to step into that fully.
Right. So then has the last 18 years been gathering the different tools to do what it is you do?
Yes. So part of was before then. Even in my youth, I did a lot of artwork because that's where I was guided to express. And yes, I guess you would say that. I became a Reiki master, and I went to British Columbia and studied energy medicine there. And so it's been one thing after the other. I met Ascensions in France, and the angels took me to meet this Ascension. So, and remembering our connection from other lifetimes together in that practice. So they're always guiding me, and they've taken me on some amazing journeys with some amazing outcomes. It's just, yeah.
Would you share one of your favorite? Or several?
One of my favorites would be the first time I was going on, so I was a member of the Sierra Club, and I was going to the monthly meeting for the Sierra Club. Well, and I was asked to meet someone at this property in Linden, Tennessee. And so I agreed that I would do that. Well, they left because I was running a little late, and they didn't think I was coming. So the guides sent me to Linden, Tennessee, and to a real estate agent. And through this is the next step process, I found this person out in the middle of nowhere. Because I was supposed to be at that property. There were a lot of Indian spirits that had not moved into the light, and they were somewhat stuck there. And so I knew when I got there that this was a process that I was supposed to assist in. in that process. And it took us on a little bit of a journey, but in the long run, it was amazing. It took probably about a year or so to gather everything we needed. But the day that we met there, and I believe Sarah and Sandy were part of that group.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember now.
Yeah. And so when we walked to the entrance of the valley where the waterfall exists, and we turned and looked, there were hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of spirits following along with this group. And it was very obvious. And the events leading up to that were amazing. They were so amazing and so magical.
Thank
In
you.
that process. But that is one of my favorite memories. Down to after the process, after we did the little ceremony to open the portal and allow the spirits to go into the light and transition to their dimension.
Mhm.
On the side of the wall, there was a triangle, a big triangle of light that no one could figure out where it was coming from. But I knew that it was a sign from the non-physicals that we had achieved what we had intended to achieve. And it was a notification of a thanks.
That's beautiful. So I didn't see that part because I remember that I did not go to the waterfall for whatever reason. I don't remember why, but yeah, I remember you coming back and talking about how profound that experience was. So,
Got
thank
it.
you.
Okay. Yes. I remember you being there, but I do remember now that you weren't able to go to the waterfall for some reason. I don't remember what that was.
I don't either. It's a long time ago.
It was.
Anyway, so Sandy had mentioned that you have a whole lot of tools, and you've mentioned some of those. Are there any that you use more often than others, or are they all just like whatever's up to be used with the person you're working with?
Well, it depends on who I'm working with. Yeah, I did a few years study in shamanism. So I'm a Reiki master in many different lineages. But usually the guides direct it.
Mm-hmm.
They do direct the process. I'm the conduit. I'm for them to come through and to express through. So, and they have guided me to study many different healing modalities. So at some point I may be doing something, and then it's others, I may be doing others. I never know. But it does help me. I think it's more, I've been sort of like a show me kind of girl
Mm-hmm.
with them. I know they've gotten frustrated with me because over the years, they probably feel like they're beating their head against a wall, because I am a show me kind of girl. I want to understand
Right.
what's going on. It's not that I don't trust them, because I trust them explicitly, but I want to be able to understand it. If I can understand it, then I can explain it to someone else in the
Right.
process.
Right.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, do you have an ideal client?
I would say right now, my ideal client would be anyone that is ready and looking to advance themselves spiritually. Someone that may need assistance with healing their vibration so that they are radiating at a a frequency that allows them to heal
Mhm.
whatever's going on in their life. You know, many times what's happening to us physical has some sort of emotional a vibration that is creating that. So once we can identify what that is, I have literally helped people go through stage 4 cancer
Mm.
by helping them to identify where they flip that switch and making peace with that. You know, also keeping in mind that sometimes to transition through what we know as death is the healing.
Right. Right. I know we get, generally speaking, we're very caught up in physicalness as being real, when in fact it's clothing that we put on so that we can see a version of a physical manifestation of what we really are.
That's correct. That
So,
is
yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah, so it isn't real. We just think it is. It's like being in the middle of a play and not realizing you're in a play.
Right.
Right.
So yeah. What type of formats do you do? I mean, is it always in person? Do you do virtual? How do you do your work?
Okay, so right now I am doing mostly through Zoom and Google Meet. I have clients all over the world, and I work out of a location in Knoxville on Thursdays of every month. Thursday of every week. I try to be there. And it's called Balanced You Clinic. It is an acupuncturist and massage clinic. I feel so blessed. It's some very gifted and talented women that have come together to create the space.
You practice out of that physical space
I do practice out of that physical space on Thursdays
on Thursdays.
of every
Most
week.
Thursdays.
So you want to see me face to face, come to Balanced You Clinic on
And-
Thursdays, but it's always good to call and get an appointment.
Yeah. And
Get on the
that's in,
schedule.
that's in Nashville, did you say?
It's in Knoxville,
Okay.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
So Eastern Tennessee.
Yes,
All righty.
yes. But everything else takes place over Zoom
Mhm.
and Google Meet.
Through mostly one-on-one sessions over Zoom, or small group meditations, activations, and sessions, or just a combination of all?
Mostly a combination of them all. I do some small groups. You can do a group for most anything, private
That's
group.
very
Um,
powerful.
Yes. So offering those groups to, lost my train of thought.
Well, I know
It's
you
okay.
gallery and
Yes.
other various small groups in person and by Zoom. And I know you used to travel. You've been to all over the all over the South, and traveling in various forms. And now after the pandemic, it sort of kept you at home. But and I found I've done all those, and I've found all of those to be, no matter what, so powerful and so in person or not, of receiving what I need to receive of whatever is going on. So it really doesn't matter. Of course, it's always nice to see you in person and have various things, different things go on, but having done the galleries and stuff, I get just as much out of it as anything, and it's always perfect, exactly what needs to happen at the right time. So it's been a wonderful experience, no matter which one you do.
Yes, I have to admit, the galleries, it's amazing how the right people always show up, and they're very synchronistic and somewhat tied together. So that also leads me to, so the guides have been talking, and I have information for each of you.
I was going to ask if that process for us specifically would be an example of doing a gallery, like what you do during a gallery.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, they're being very insistent.
They are being very insistent. So if you
take it away, Gwen. And
okay.
guides.
All right. So if you will, give me just a few minutes, and they want to speak to Sarah at first. So an affirmation for you is, the world is my magical oyster, and I am excited to see what flourishes next.
The world is my magical oyster.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The world is my magical oyster, and I'm excited to see what flourishes next. So they want you to know that there's some serendipity and some magic taking place, sort of like the first breath. There's an openness and alert of unexpected miracles, and that's really where they want you to be. They want you to be in that place of openness and alert for unexpected miracles.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been a challenging 6-7 weeks.
It has. And they want to encourage you to cultivate that childlike enthusiasm. And you have that. You bring excitement and curiosity into all of your experiences. And so really move forward with those as your tools, because they really want you to be open to inspiration, because there are some inspiration coming from really strange places.
Okie doke. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You are most welcome. Okay, Chantel. So Chantel, what they're saying is, for you, I act from a place of love, and the universe witnesses my intentions.
I act from a place of love, and the universe witnesses my intentions. I love that.
So they really want you to know that there is, there have been something happening where there might have been some deception, or you felt as though you had been betrayed. But they want you to really move through in a place of knowing that everything is going to work out. Everything is going to be vigilantly decisive in knowing of where you want to go and what you understand.
Vigilantly decisive. That's an interesting word choice.
Well,
I like it. I just find it very precise.
right. So they're wanting you to know to follow your heart. You cannot deceive your heart.
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
universe will always bear witness to your truest feelings. So whatever this experience was, they're sort of saying, put that behind you.
Okay.
That you witnessed it, you acknowledged it, and it was a little lesson in being able to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um,
So I've witnessed it, I've acknowledged it, and there's nothing more to
right.
right now.
That's right. You trust that things are happening as they're supposed to. They want you to know that you've been doing the work
Okay.
and you have set successful roots, and the roots that you have been planting are growing.
All right.
Even with what the deception seemed to be, they're not indicating what that was. So I'm going to leave that to you to know.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, Sandy. I am worthy of success. Is for you. I am worthy of success. So something you've been working towards is finally coming to fruition, and they want you to know that you're worthy of it and that it's time to celebrate your wins. Something about stretching your mindset and gifting yourself permission to bask in the warm glow of accomplishment. It's time to be honored and to be witnessed and to be supported by your community around you. Open to receive the enthusiasm. And that's part of accepting success. They really want you to be open to accepting success. Because if you're open to accepting success, then it can come to you. And it's almost like once you open to acknowledge yourself as successful, then the doors are going to fly open.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Finding your hunger for fierce positivity. That is a big thing with them here lately. Finding hunger for our positivity. As much as we do, we find ourselves many times in thinking a negative, and they're like, we hunger, but hunger for the positivity within ourselves. And when we can hunger for that positivity within ourselves, then that reflects out to the community around us and the opportunity and the circumstances that are brought to us.
Thank you. I've been working very much on being aware of when I'm negative and to shift to the positive, and being aware of being more diligent to stay in that positivity. I just don't know exactly what that looks like and how that can be successful in a specific way. So, but yes, thank you very much. That's very, very helpful.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yes, thanks. That's very interesting. Now, when you do a gallery, you do those online, right? Right now?
Yes. I have not done a gallery in the past few months. I've been traveling and really been focused on my family,
Right.
with everything that has been going on. And so I will be posting galleries in the future, and they'll
So
be online.
fantastic. So just a reminder to everyone, at the end of this podcast, we will have our little outro, which includes how you can connect with Gwen. And be sure to check out her website, especially if you're curious about the galleries, but certainly to find out more about Gwen and what it is she does. But yeah, so what is typical in terms of attendance? Or is there a typical, I remember you saying a little bit ago that it always turns out perfectly in terms of who's there. Do you generally get to talk with everyone or channel for everyone?
They generally like to speak to everyone. It
Yeah.
may be brief. And it's really interesting that if it's a large number of people, by the time they get around to the last few people, they're like, you've answered what I came here to get information on with someone else. I've got what I needed. Thank you.
Interesting.
And so it's amazing. That's the reason I say it's amazing, the group of people that come together, and there's a synchronicity that's flowing through the gallery
Interesting.
and through the group.
Yeah. So when you're in the swing of doing that thing, your work, like you said, you've been very focused on family, and of course, that whole process has helped us restructure different things, right? But how often do you usually do the galleries? Once a month, every 6 weeks, or is it just when you're told to? How does that work?
It's usually when I'm told to. I've been getting a lot of downloads. And I've been writing on a book. So I've had a lot of different things going on.
Right.
So the galleries had been put on the side burner while I was focusing on some other things. It's hard to juggle too many things at one time.
This is true.
But when I'm in the process and in the flow, I usually do them about once a month or every couple of months. They give me very direct guidance on it's time to do this, or they give me the schedule. I don't know how to explain it any other way.
Well, I think that explains it rather well. They guide you too, as well as the rest of us.
Yes. Yes, they do. They guide me quite often. They're always giving me messages
Well, that's helpful.
and suggestions.
Yeah, that's very helpful, I would think.
It is, and sometimes it's really confusing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but how do I say this? So sometimes I'm a little bit hard-headed about the things that they brought in. Like in 2007, they wanted me to move from Memphis, Tennessee to Nashville, Tennessee. And I struggled with that.
Mm.
But in the end, it always works out.
So did you move?
I did. I did. And I loved living in Nashville
So
until it was time to move again. So, you know,
it's nice
Well,
to
then I
have
think
guides.
coming back to Memphis, no matter where you moved, when I was there, now I'm not there, but we still find a way to connect and still be connected. So no matter where you move to, we seem to still run into each other.
yes. Yes. And I think that's part of the magic of life is the synchronicities that take place.
I know you also do lots of private sessions, and that's very, very powerful of just being the focus of whatever's going on. So the private sessions are very helpful as well, no matter what form it takes, whether it's Zoom or in person.
Yes, I work with private clients. I have quite a few that I work through with Zoom, and it fluctuates. Sometimes they're wanting to do some hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and sometimes they're coming in to meet with the guides.
Mhm.
So I have quite a few people that we do life consulting through, and they come in sometimes once a month, sometimes every other month, and they've got questions that they want to ask, and the guides give them very clear, precise guidance. Now, the guides will not tell you exactly what to do, but they will make recommendations for they want what's in your highest and best interest as your outcome. And they want to try to move you in the direction of what is your highest and best interest.
They give a lot of clues for you to find your path.
They do. They do. They give you a lot of clues about how to find your path and be on your path. But there's so much for free will. So much for free will. But they constantly remind us that there is no wrong decision.
This is true.
There is no wrong decision.
You either get a choice of going this direction right now or going in that direction later on. And it doesn't matter whether you do it now or later, you're still, that's still part of your path. So you'll be circling back no matter what.
Right.
What you're here for, it'll keep showing up and in various forms. And I know through your guided meditation, your toning, your life consulting. What else do you do? There's just so many things. Like, I don't think I've ever had a session that's ever been the same with you. So it's never the same, even though there's a lot of the same, maybe the same type of things, like the toning, but and sometimes it's very brief, sometimes it's a long session, or which can bring lots of comfort. And so it just depends on where that person is. You do meet them very, very well, and where they are.
And I remember from our sessions, about 9 years ago-ish, when I was going through the cancer treatment, the guides choose the right way to say things to get, at least in my case, I tend to be a bit intellectual. Don't laugh too hard, everyone. And they say things in just the right way for, like in my case, my mind to go, huh? What? Let me explore that. which helped me take my next steps, even though, just a little bit of background for our listeners, I was physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausted, and I was okay if I died. I had no problem with that. And when I was seeing Gwen, I guess about once a month, however often you came to Memphis, because I was in Memphis in those days, and the guides go, yeah, you can go if you want, but if you stay, nobody else can quite do it like you would do it. And I still don't know what it is I'm doing that nobody else would do it like I would do it. So, I mean, there was no clarification, but it got me to get past that exhaustion to where I had energy again. And obviously, since the world is my magical oyster, I get to be excited about what flourishes next.
Yes.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
find out what it is that I do that differently than anyone else would do.
Well, everything you do is different than anyone else
Well,
can
true,
do.
true.
We all have this process that we're moving through. And we all have these people that, whether we are conscious of them showing up or not, there are people that are showing up to get the piece of their puzzle from you. And whether you realize it or not, you touch those spirits with that piece of your puzzle. And it's a gift. So you're giving your gift in your presence and in your intellect.
Thank you. I think that's true of all of us.
And the puzzle
Absolutely.
pieces that you give it's very different from person to person. So it changes the outcome of what their picture looks like, because they
Right.
have a piece of your puzzle that changes the whole outcome of the picture. And
Absolutely.
so it's a beautiful way of expressing that. Is there anything else you'd like to say or tell us about real quick, or anything you'd like to add?
I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to be able to share what we've shared today with those that are viewing. And I look forward to what the future holds for all of us.
Exciting times.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank
Thank
you for
you.
coming. And I'm
Yeah,
so glad
thank you
we
for
finally got to
sharing you.
connect and share you with the world.
Absolutely.
And even more so. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yes. I do want to let everyone know that I do offer a 15-minute free consult to determine whether or not what I have to offer is what you're looking for.
Well, who can pass that one up? Seriously. Like, quick, call or contact through the email and get that 15, right? 15-minute consult to provide opportunities for yourself for growth and learning and sharing your specialness with the world too.
Well, so that would bring us to how can we contact you? Your email, your Instagram, your whatever.
So my
you-
business is known as SourceSong. That is what the guides call themselves. They say we are all the song of source. So my email is sourcesong@gmail.com. I have a website that is sourcesong.com. And you can also reach me through it's really best to text me at 901-483-8592.
Thank you.
Great. And again, that's all going to be listed in the end credits as well. So you can pause the podcast when we get to that so you can write it down. Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for the opportunity, ladies. I so appreciate all of you.
And we appreciate you.
We hope you have enjoyed our conversation with Gwen Cupples. You can reach Gwen on Facebook. That's facebook.com/SourceSongGwen, all one word. On Instagram, instagram.com/Gwen_Cupples. That's GWEN_CUPPLES. Her website is www.SourceSong.com. Her email is sourcesong@gmail.com. And if you wish to schedule an appointment, text 901-483-8592. Please take a moment to visualize our planet Earth bathed in white light. Everything within, on, and surrounding the planet filled with this white light. And all energies in whatever form moving into and staying balanced for the highest good of all concerned.